The only thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Only no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer! Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters, where we're going to bring you the news and reviews of some wonderful brews. My name is Dan Baker, joined, as always, by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and our from entertainer,
Wayne Baker.
Now today we are on location somewhere that I've been looking forward to coming for a very long time. We were introduced in, what was it, September? Was that the Capital City Invitational? That was September, right?
Yeah, because we had a wedding that day.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Congratulations again, Alex and Martha.
Yes.
But yeah, we had met one of the guys that's at the table with us then, and we knew we had to come out here and visit. So we're on location at Turkey Hill Brewing, and this is in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. And we have two guys with us at the table. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves.
Donny Abrazinskis.
And
Andrew Neville,
all right, guys, thank you so much for having us out here.
thanks for coming out.
Yeah, now, anyone who may have missed the episode, Andrew is the one we met at Capital City Invitational, and I've been looking forward to coming out here since then. You guys have an inn that we're staying in tonight. You have the brew pub here. I've seen some of the plates go back and forth, and people seem to be happy with the food. I'm looking forward to chowing down a little later on. I do have to mention that this episode is brought to you by Audible. You can go to audibletrial.com/beerbusters, and you can sign up for a free 30-day trial of Audible, which will bring you audiobooks and audio goodness. And you get to keep your audiobook. Because let's face
More
it,
audio goodness.
more audio goodness than
Because you're
just
obviously
this.
receiving audio goodness right now.
Of course. Yeah, but let's face it, nobody has time to read actual words on a paper anymore, so let somebody read it for you. audibletrial.com/beerbusters. Any book, almost any book that's released has an audiobook version of it. So check it out, show your support for Beer Busters, and enjoy your free book.
And as long as we're on the plug wagon, just real quick, I want to mention that we are this much closer to actually getting our Patreon page up and running. At which point,
Wayne's fingers are very close together.
we filmed the video earlier today.
Yes, we did, and it's awesome.
You'll be able to subscribe,
It was
donate
fun.
to us for every podcast we release, and we will be greatly appreciative, and the awesomeness will continue.
Of course it will. There is awesomeness abound.
Speaking of awesomeness.
Yeah, before we get into the news, we have a sipping beer that we are starting with.
Yay.
So what are we enjoying at the beginning of the show?
So first up, we have a.
You say it. No, you say it. No, you say it.
First, we have called the 6 Quid IPA. It's our first British style IPA, and it actually comes after the slang term for like a monetary. Was it like a pence?
Yeah,
It's like a dollar.
Yeah, it's like
like
when
a
we say
dollar.
buck for dollar.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it has a nice malty backbone to it. Doesn't quite have the like your traditional what you would think of like a West Coast or a more American style IPA that has a real floral, real lot of esters to it. This one's a little more malty, a little more even keel. It is all East Kent Goldings hops, so it is an English style hop all the way through it, and then just a little bit of Columbus hops just for a little bit of flavoring on it.
Yeah, the malty character is very nice, and
Yeah.
it is a very Englishy
Englishy.
sort of character to it. I really
I
know
like
if
that is a word.
the almost sweet fruitiness
Yeah.
that you get from the
Yep,
malts. It's really
almost like a
nice.
raisiny kind of taste to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. It's not overly bitter as most IPAs are nowadays, which goes back to that English style. But I like it a lot. The bitterness is there, but it's not like punchy in the throat bitterness, which
No.
I can definitely appreciate.
Yep,
Good
absolutely.
way to start the night.
So an excellent choice
Yeah,
for a
nice
sipping beer.
balance one to
Yeah.
begin the evening festivities.
I may have missed this if we said it, and I apologize. What's the ABV on this one?
6.6.
Yeah, 6.6.
That makes sense.
6
Okay.
quid,
6
6.6.
quid, 6.6. Okay.
6 quid, 6p.
6p, yes. Cool. Well, I think now that we have that in, we should do this. As it is the new year, I don't think a lot of things happen in the beer world. However, there's one article that I saw that gets me very excited for the months to come. So every year, there is a national day known as Record Store Day to celebrate physical releases of music. And a lot of artists and bands will do limited edition one-offs and have like special vinyl pressings for this. And it'll be this big thing, and you go into a local record store instead of shopping on like Amazon or going online or anything. So this year, Dogfish Head is jumping in. They're going to have a release that's called Beer to Drink Music 2 as their new seasonal, joining the Delaware-based breweries lineup this March. Now, Dogfish Head, they are no stranger to beer and music collaboration. In fact, way back when in the early days, I did an article about musical beers, and Dogfish Head's had a bunch of them. There was a Miles Davis beer. There was they had like a rose beer that I forget what it was. I should probably have done a little research on this of my own writing. But they have had something called Positive Contact, American Beauty, Beer Thousand. Just Sam Calgione likes music, and he likes to brew beer to coincide with it. So now Record Store Day is going to be, it's typically the third Saturday in April. Our Dogfish Head Beer to Drink Music 2 will be released in March, and it's going to be a Belgian-style triple brewed with sweet orange peel, green cardamom, peppercorns, and vanilla. And it'll be available in 12-ounce bottles and draft this March of 2016, because that is the year we are now in. Happy New Year, everyone, by the way.
Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year. So if this is the beer to drink music to, what is the music to listen to beer to?
Listen to beer?
Yeah.
To listen to while drinking beer?
No, because it's the beer
Like,
to
do you
drink
listen to
music
the beer?
to.
Well, you just said beer to
You
listen
could.
to.
Right.
Like, put your
Because
ear against like the fermenter.
You're drinking music with this beer.
Okay.
That's
So
what
you have to
Doc Street
listen
did
to
that.
a beer.
That's true, yeah.
Doc Street had
nothing to fuck
Wu-Tang.
with.
They had
Yeah.
Wu-Tang going for the entire fermentation of
That
the
beer was great,
Yes.
by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah, we were lucky enough to get there to record and have that
Mighty
shortly after the
Susquehannas,
release
that's
of
what
it.
you listen to when you're drinking
There you
tonight.
go. Yeah.
They're playing here tonight.
Yeah,
That's
there you
right,
go,
man.
there
Playing
you
here
go.
at Turkey
Little
Hill.
plug there, guys.
That's
Exactly.
the music we'll
Shameless
be beering
plug.
to.
Yeah.
Shameless plug, yeah. Well, that's pretty much all I saw in the news, so I'm very excited for that one. Keep an eye out in March, but I'd like to get to the things that are at hand. We're at Turkey Hill.
Yay!
Which, I'm happy to be here. Now, we're in a room that, a little like landing area you guys use as like a waiting room, more or less, to go into the restaurant. But what I like is behind us, there's a window where we can see all the brewing equipment
Where
down
the
there.
magic happens.
Yes,
It's
where
always
the
nice
magic
to be in
happens.
sight of the brewery when we record. That's always the best.
Yeah. Now,
Motivation.
for anybody who didn't happen to catch the Capital City episode, we should point out that Turkey Hill Brewing has nothing to do with the iced tea or ice cream that you may be familiar with in eastern Pennsylvania. Now, on that note, which came first?
Hard to say, because this was the original story behind this was that in the 1800s, when Bloomsburg was being settled, it was the Turkey Hill district of Columbia County is where this little hill is. So that was early 1800s. So I don't know. I mean, the inn has been in next door since the mid 1900s, but it was it's actually the farmhouse has been there since 1895 or something. I believe, something like that.
I would
So-
imagine that makes this Turkey Hill first.
Yeah, that's what we've gone with.
Yeah.
You could stake that claim, I think.
Yeah, I think we can go with that. With no fact checking, we will say this Turkey Hill did it
Absolutely.
first. So the inn's been here for that long. When did the brewery open?
The brewery opened up about 5 years ago.
Okay, so pretty
And,
recent. Wow.
Yes. And, of course, there is a story behind it, which we'll get into later.
All right.
But, yeah, it's been 5 years. It was delayed a year because it blew over in a windstorm. Which actually was a godsend because there was a lot of little weird areas in the barn. And, of course, they had to start over again, and this is what it happened to be. So
Yeah. Very cool. So within the 5 years, what size system do you guys have?
we have a 7-barrel system from Specific Mechanical. We can get out, depending on what fermenters that we use, one we can get out about 7 3/4 barrels, and the other one we get out about 6.5 barrels.
Okay, cool. And now, Donny, you are the head brewer
Yes.
here. So everything that we're drinking tonight is pretty much your child.
Is me.
Awesome. Very cool.
And have you been here from the beginning since the
Yes.
brewery started?
Yep.
Cool. Very nice.
And you're no stranger to brewing, though. You've been brewing for, I think I saw in your bio, what, 25 years?
Yeah,
Over
it's been
25?
probably 30 years now.
Wow.
Basically, what happened was my wife and our children and myself were invited to a wedding over in England, and nothing was really happening back here in the States with the craft brewing back in the late 80s. It was mostly out in the West and just kind of getting a little foothold out there. And I had my first cast ale in England, and after the second one, I just fell in love with cast ales, and I wanted to... Actually, what happened was I was real sad at the end, and the guys that we were at a pub, he says, "What's the matter?" He says, "Well, I got to go back to the States," because I said, "We really don't have any beers back there like this." And so they got me an extract kit and a book, and I brought it back to the States, and I studied it, and I started brewing, and that's how I got started. And actually, how this place opened up is my wife was with the owner's ex-wife, and they got together and got a cooking class together. and she asked me to make beer for a wedding party that they were going to have for her brother. And I did, and just so happened Andrew was there, and he tasted my beer, and got a phone call a couple days later, and had a meeting, and here we are, 5 years later.
And the rest is history.
Exactly. That's right.
As they
Had
say.
no idea I was going to be doing this 7 years ago.
Nice, very nice.
Now you also have, if I saw right in your family, another business.
Yes.
That you guys have. So you are Christmas tree farmers?
I am a Christmas tree grower by heart. It's been in our family for 105 years. I started back, of course, when I was a child. Went to school in the University of South Carolina until 1980, came home, got into family business. So I've been doing this full time for about 30, almost 40 years.
Wow.
And actually, when we first started, I worked both jobs for about three years, and finally, it wasn't going to work anymore, and full-time brewing now.
Wow. Pennsylvania is one of the leading producers of Christmas trees, I believe, in the country.
Depends on how you look at it. I think we're number one in farms. Acreage-wise, it's more out west, like Washington, Oregon, some of California. And just the growers alone, I think we're probably number 3. But production, I think we're 5. I mean, mostly your Oregon, Washington, Michigan, Wisconsin, New York, Pennsylvania, North Carolina now.
So have you done a Christmas tree-inspired beer?
The only beer that I would really try to do would probably be a white fir or a concolor fir. It kind of has like an orangey, citrusy smell to it in the beginning of when it first breaks bud in the spring. So I'm kind of thinking about that, and maybe I might give it a shot one of these days.
It seems like you have to. I mean,
Yeah, of
come on.
course. Kind of, yeah.
Whatever you don't want to do, you don't want to do a Colorado Blue Spruce because I'm not going to say it's not good.
Just take your word for it.
Exactly.
Right. Fair enough.
So now, Andrew, how did you come to Turkey Hill?
Well, I graduated from Penn State this 5 years ago now, and I was actually getting ready to move to D.C. where my brother lives. I was just applying for jobs down there, and Donny's actually been a close family friend of ours for, I'm 27, so probably about 25 years, 26 years almost. And the girl that was the assistant manager at that point was actually moving out of the area, so it was just kind of, I like to think it was divine intervention that
Yes.
Donny asked me if I wanted to interview, and I said okay, and now 4.5 years later, now I'm the general manager, and it's been a good ride so far. We look forward to a lot of good things to happen here in the future as well.
And we should mention that the owner of the brew pub is also
named Andrew as well, so it does get confusing at times. Yes.
I'm sure.
And what's really interesting is Andrew also went to the University of South Carolina in the 80s, and I went in the 70s. And
Wow.
so we kind of see one another when we go down to football games, and it's pretty neat.
Interesting. So, Andrew, as we alluded to earlier, we first met you at the Invitation. I'm trying to remember all the words.
City.
Capital City Invitational Beer Fest.
Yes.
Capital City Invitation. It's a lot of words to remember. But do you, in your capacity, often go out to events like that, pour beers, and meet people, and sort of
we
spread
probably
the word?
do about 6 to 8 every year at the most, probably 6 to 8. That was the first year we had done that, and that went really well. We enjoyed going down there.
And Donny, do you usually go with him? It's kind of a nice treat when the brewer is there pouring beers also.
Most of the time I do.
Yeah.
It all depends on scheduling and where I'm going and what's happening back here. But just so happened it was a rainy evening, if I remember right.
Yep.
And,
Yes, it was.
Had to get away, and so we were a good team down there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that event's always a lot of fun, and it was cool to see you guys there. Now, the other events that you do, are they mostly that kind of style, like a beer fest in that vein?
Most of them are outside because they're during the summertime. Probably one of the better ones. There's 3 out in Altoona. They have Pints for Pets. They have a Lidditz. This is our second year. I thought that was really well run. And Hop Vines and Wines we go to out in Selinsgrove.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that's
have
really
heard the best things about that fest.
Yeah,
I've
that's
been
good.
told we have to go
The beer
there.
and wine fest, I assume.
Yes.
And we can actually take your mom with,
Selinsgrove.
and she would
Yeah.
enjoy
Mom
it.
would appreciate that
I've
as well.
heard nothing but
You got to get
glowing
tickets
things.
quick.
That's what I hear.
gone
It
in
sells
about 15
out really,
minutes.
really
yeah.
quickly.
We got to flash our press credentials.
Yeah,
I don't want to work it. I just want to go and
Just wanna hang
enjoy
out,
it.
Yeah, the people that are in charge of it, they just do a fabulous job. Excellent.
And Lidditz is great. If you guys
Yes.
haven't been down
Yes.
there yet, that's
We love
it's only
Lidditz.
been 2 years. That was only the second year this past summer, and that was that's just really great festival as well.
And at Sealands Grove, they have whoopie pies.
Yeah.
Oh, whoopie pies.
Just saying.
What do they call them out
You
west?
get whoopie pies right down the road from here.
Gobs.
Really?
Absolutely.
They make
Gobs, is that what
they
it was?
make those blueberry ones at Sealands Grove.
Yeah.
They're really good.
That's the thing? Blueberry whoopie pies?
And they make it a sundae.
Whoa.
It's like
my
an
God.
ice cream sundae with a blueberry whoopie pie.
So when are we going to Sealands Grove?
On a future episode of Beer
Yes,
Busters
coming
Podcast.
soon.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, as far as the beer would go, so you take it out to the events with you. Do you guys distribute, or do you have bottle releases or anything?
Basically, what we do is we're in-house. Everything's in-house. Later on, we will be tasting some of our barrel-aged beers. And what I try to do, we have 7 barrels down there. And what I try to do is take about 20 gallons in kegs, introduce it to the public, and then right now we are going for our labeling in for the bottles. And they're not going to be distributed. They're going to be sold right out of here. But what we're going to do is we're going to expand our brew house. We're going to bring in 3 15-barrel fermenters. And what I'd like to do in the beginning is try for about 10 taps in the area, anywhere from Wilkes-Barre to, I think, Sealands Grove. There's probably about 10 bars that I've finished. They're very, very excited that we're going to be putting beers on tap. But down the road is we're going to have, well, they're not really tasting rooms. They'll be like satellite breweries, but they're going to be small. One of my friends is really a good winemaker up in Drums, Pennsylvania, and we're going to open up a little brewery with a winery adjacent to it. And most of the beer will be coming from here, but we will have a little brew house in there, and we'd love to open up about 3 of them. Anywhere from like Mountaintop, Jim Thorpe, and Clark Summers is the places where I would really like to go. And we'll see what happens.
Sounds awesome.
Now, will you be in charge of brewing at all of those locations?
No, I'll
or
be
you
in
bring
charge here,
on-
but I already have my first brewer. He's not here tonight, but he's about 25 years old. He's kind of an assistant that does not get paid, just loves being here and brewing beer. So he really was excited when I asked him, and he's ready to start. So hopefully by the next fall, or this fall, we should be open. See what happens.
Now, I want to go back to the beginning of your story. You said that you were inspired by cask ales across the pond, and you were
Yes.
sad that you couldn't have them when you came back home. Has that been a style that's been dear to you since then, or what's sort of your wheelhouse as a brewer and your approach to brewing?
Well, my philosophy is the cast ales. I love doing cast. I think that's the way beer should be drank. But that's just me, but I think you kind of agree. I've always been inspired with Belgians. I just think the yeast are different than the rest of the yeast, and like the 05 yeast that we use for our pale ale. And a lot of people use it, the old Valentine American ale yeast, very neutral. But I've always liked the Belgians. They kind of give you that little different. Depends on how you treat the yeast of different temperature ranges, and that's what I always work on and see what kind of different taste you get out of them. And we probably have, I think, 4 farmhouse ales, different variations of them, different yeast that we use. We did last year a Bière de Mars. That was okay, but the Bière de Garde was really nice. We do have our blonde ale, and I have a couple different variations of that. We have triples, doubles, and everything in between.
Everything in between. Very
Yeah.
nice, very nice. All sounds delicious to me.
Yeah. and we probably, and you know what, I really didn't realize how many different strains of yeast that we really use. And I counted them, and we used 12 strains, and that's not counting the Brett or anything.
Right.
So that's pretty exciting.
And speaking of that, Brett, those wonderful barrels and sours you alluded to earlier,
They're still aging.
they're still aging. Has that been something you've been into for a while? Sours and even like bourbon barrel aging and that sort of thing.
I was a little frightened in the beginning because
It's
I
scary,
really
yeah.
I really wasn't sure, but I did a lot of reading. I read a couple books. I talked to a couple different people, and I just started like I always do in a 5-gallon carboy and see what happens, and it just kind of grew. And I think it was probably about 5 months ago that our first barrel came out. That was at FHK that y'all had down in Harrisburg, and it's an education, because when it sits in a barrel and you start tasting it, after I think minimum a year, you just don't know what to expect. And I didn't think that beer was going to make it. We were going to have to either put cherries in it or do something. And I said, well, we'll just let it go for a little bit longer. And within 2 months, that thing totally changed personality, and I was shocked. And I was real happy about it.
Yes. Gotta love the happy accidents.
So you seem to play around a lot with beers. Do you typically brew a base beer style and then kind of split it up, like say, okay, this I'm going to throw in kegs, this I'm going to put this yeast into it, this, or do you go in brewing a beer and saying, no, this is going to go into a barrel?
Well, when we first started out, we had our base beers, lagers, different, pale ale, IPA. Always try to have like a dark, either a porter or a stout on. And what I did is when the main batch, we would always take off 5 gallons and try a yeast. And if that didn't work out, we tried another one. And that's how we kind of all started. Now, I think we're up to Monday, we're going to be doing our 330th batch of beer. And we're still working with some yeast. Matter of fact, this yeast that's in the British IPA was an English dry yeast that I've never used before. And that same thing, we did a pale ale, put that yeast in there, and I was real happy how it turned out. So that's how we used it for this one.
That's kind of how you learn. I mean, you don't
Exactly.
know until you play with these ingredients and use these different yeast strains. And
Exactly.
What a fun way to just, and you're brewing so much beer, why not take 5-10 gallons and do something fun with it?
And that's how I get my sour beers, too, my quick sours that are like Berliner style, and that's how we go with them. But, I know Andrew told one of you guys that we have actually brewed 48 different styles here in 5 years. And English styles always are not a real good hit, but this one has been selling pretty good, which, of course, the Americans, as soon as they see IPA, oh my God, we got to try this one. But, and we only ever did one IPA until a year and a half ago, and all of a sudden we ran a series. Now we do red IPA, black IPA for Valentine's Day, which is called Black Heart, and we have a whimsical wheat in the summertime, wheat IPA. We have a West Coast, a double journeyman, and our journeyman. And our British now.
That's a nice array. They're not all just big hoppy IPAs.
Right.
Like having the white,
They're
the black,
all different.
the British
Yeah,
style.
and it shows what you can really do with an IPA then, instead of just, here's hop bitterness. You can let the different ingredients, the different malt strains and everything, that you can let that shine so that you can have a wide array, like you said.
Yeah.
Right.
You can do a lot more with it.
That's a good way to get, those people who are maybe just starting to get into craft beer. I know when I first got into craft beer, I was like, well, I know I like IPA. So I was always like, I'll just have the IPA because I know I like it.
Right.
Until I started exploring different styles, and having so many different IPAs with different characteristics is a great way to get somebody who might be a little intimidated by a long beer list.
And what gets me really frustrated is, some of these, not really a website like Untapped, and they go on there and they say, they should do this, the brewer should do this. Well, first of all, they do not know what our philosophy is, and maybe they don't even know what a British IPA is, and there's just no background. And you can tell a lot of people that put that stuff up, and I try not to read it, and it just gets me fired up sometimes.
Or when they rate it, I hate when people will check in a beer and rate it like 1 star, and then they're like, I just don't like this style. Well, if you don't like the style, don't rate it. Or don't order
Cut
it.
yourself out. I just use it more so to try to catalog everything I've had.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm nowhere near catching up to you, Steph, but I have a lot of beers that I haven't checked in. I'd still be nowhere near you, by the way. What are you up to on Untappd now?
It's a running tally on the website we should have.
We should, yeah,
ding,
anyway.
Ding, ding, ding. It's like 8
I'm
million.
working towards 5,000.
Yeah. Steph has more Untappd check-ins, unique check-ins, than we have breweries in the country.
Well, like you said, I use it as a resource. 4,667 unique.
667. 4667. That's insane. Wow.
The locals are getting restless.
But so I want to talk about the pub also. I mean, we're in this kind of Americana pub that focuses on local and organic meats and produce, and I've eaten here several times, and the food is always great. Does having this resource, does it inspire you? Do you pair your beers with some of the dishes? Do you guys ever do beer dinners? Like, how does the pub-brewery relationship, how's that working?
Yeah, we just had a Brewmaster's dinner for New Year's Eve, and this is our third year, and I think there were 65 people here. And the menu was fabulous. It was a little bit heavy into seafood, but nobody seemed to complain. And kind of talking to the chef and talk to him about what the beers were and then what the food were. We didn't have any idea how these things were going to taste. And people this year walked up to us, at least 6 of them, and said, boy, that was a great pairing. And I was thinking, man, that was lucky, because I had no idea what was going to happen. Right, it turned out really, really well.
Well, just your knowledge of ingredients and different beers and what things make sense together. I mean,
right.
I would think it's not easy, but you can go with your gut, and I'm sure that.
Right.
I mean, it's not.
It was fun. It was fun. It was just a real loose night out, and got up and talked. And what we usually do is I'll get up, and somebody will introduce the chef and myself, and then I'll get up and I'll talk about little stories behind the beer, what the tasting notes are, what the tasting notes on the food, and why we picked them, and it seems to work, and people really enjoyed it this year.
And I guess this would be a good time to mention that you also do kind of mini pairings on Tuesday nights, the Meet the Brewer Tuesdays here at the pub.
Yeah, we did that for about a year and a half, every Tuesday, and it was getting a little tiring. And some Tuesdays we'd have maybe 20, 30 people up here. Another Tuesday we'd have maybe a handful. So we decided to go every other Tuesday or twice a month. And we get a lot of people during the week, a lot of business people from other countries and from different parts of the United States. And they love to come up, and we just talk beer. And that the person that I'm going to hire for the brewer up at Mountaintop, he's always here. That's how I met him. And they have some interesting beer that they bring up sometime, home brewing. And I know last year they brought up a, I can't remember what, it'll come back to me, but it's really unusual, really unusual. They were from plants out in the wild, and it actually worked. It was really interesting, and I just can't think of it right now, sorry.
That's cool. I was actually going to ask about the New Year's Eve one. Now, do you do those very often, the big dinner pairings, or is that just like for special occasions?
Well, what we're thinking on, we always do it for New Year's Eve, and then somebody came up to us and said, why don't you guys do it like quarterly or maybe midsummer? So I kind of thought about midsummer. I think it'd be really nice when a lot of fresh fruit and vegetables and like a barbecue. And actually my great uncle gave me a recipe for a chicken barbecue that we've been doing forever, and we usually do that during Halloween here outside on the barbecue. And I really got into smoking brisket and stuff. My daughter's down in Houston, and when I went to Houston for the first time and had all that beef down there, it was great. So I had to go get a smoker.
Now you need to smoke some malt too. Make a good Rauch beer.
Those guys actually did that.
Oh, wow.
They smoked the hops, which was really interesting.
Cool,
it was really interesting. We got my smoker out, smoked the hops, and then they made a smoked beer, and it was excellent.
Huh, never heard of that before.
I never did either.
Yeah, I'd be interested to try something like that, yeah. Huh.
I never would have thought to do that.
I didn't either. They're 25 years old. Give me ideas.
They'll do the experimenting.
Exactly.
They're the ideas guys.
Yep. Millennials, Dan. Millennials.
There's that word again. Imagine that.
Anyway, our second beer, which there's always little stories behind all these little beers.
We love that.
And if you look down our list, I mean, there are some little unusual names. You can tell the Journeyman. I'm a big Jethro Tull fan. I listen to him all the time. And actually, I just went to Philly and saw his Jethro Tull opera, which was excellent.
Wow.
It was at the Kimmel Center. And but anyway, Bamboozle in Bruges. Little story behind this. We were over in in Belgium for a graduation of my cousin. And my other cousin lived over there with actually that was the wedding that I went to when I got into beer making, and we were all together, and we were in Bruges and had dinner. Well, my one cousin stepped out and stuck us with the bill. And it was probably about $400.
Oh my God!
And of course, me and the other guy and I, we paid for it and everything. So I came up with the Bamboozle and Bruges, which had actually happened.
Wow.
This particular beer is very simple. There's some wheat in there, probably about 25%, a little bit of Munich malt and then Pilsner malt. And what's kind of unusual about it's mosaic hops, and there's wildflower fall honey in here. And it's a little darker than normal because we usually do it in the spring with wildflower honey or orange blossom honey, depends on what I have. So it makes it a little bit darker, and I never really realized how dark the honey got in the fall, depending on the flowers.
Interesting.
I didn't even think of that, as the honey is different based on the season.
The season, yeah. Hey, Dan.
You know what we didn't do? Yeah.
I was going to say, let's make it official.
Let's do this.
Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Beer me!
All right, now I feel like I can give you
Ooh.
notes on this. I love the aroma
a
of it.
lovely, spicy, citrusy character to it. It's really nice.
Yeah, the yeast I use for this is the White Labs 570, and I use that for our golden ale and this, and that's it. I can't remember offhand where it really comes from, but I've always liked this yeast. It's pretty spicy. It really does a nice job.
And the subtle sweetness from the honey, it's the perfect marriage. It's so tasty.
There's something I'm getting in the back end after the sweetness, and I can't put my finger on it, and it's going to drive me crazy.
It finishes herbal for me.
Yeah, kind of like herbal
Earthy,
and earthy. Yeah,
herbal,
yeah.
yeah.
All right, there we
That
go.
could be, I mean, we dry hopped it with mosaic hops. That could be a
Could be
little
the
bit of
hops.
that.
Yeah, I don't even want to, not like lavender. It's not like that perfumey, but that like nice
It has
herbal.
it has an earthy
yeah.
floral character to it rather than a perfumey floral.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And
And
Dan,
I-
to answer your question, it's 6.5%.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I always introduce this to kind of a low alcohol in Belgium,
Yes.
Yeah.
because they can be notorious for being a little on the high side.
Oh yes, we know all too well.
Yeah. I think Dan's actually Belgian by birth.
I do enjoy waffles too.
So I want to hear more about Belgium. What
me
was
too.
the highlight?
The highlights in Belgium, probably the Tremens bar. Susie, my wife is sitting here.
She's refusing
She's
to
like, I'm
speak.
not speaking.
Delirium Tremens. There was a bar back in the big Brussels. It was kind of offset, and they had to have 500 bottles of beer, probably 30 beers on tap. And it was just an array of different beers, and it was just fabulous. It was a lot of fun, and just the way they did things, a lot of muscles, and everything's kind of close. It's almost like going to a county fair when everything gets kind of tight, and every restaurant is like 10 feet from one another, and it's really, really unique. One of these days, I would love to take Susie and I to go to one of the Trappists. Orville is one of my favorite beers, and I love to go there. Haven't been, but hopefully in the future.
It's amazing. Business trip one day?
To Belgium?
Yeah.
Sure.
Years and years and
When
years and
will
years
we
and
be
years
able
in
to
the
afford
future.
to put that on the business tab?
We still have to go to Orlando and go to Springfield so I can have Duff beer. That
I
was
think
supposed
we
to
can
be-
skip that.
That's supposed to be our first business trip. Remember way back when we said?
Oh,
that was,
I remember way back when.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let you forget then either. Yeah. No, this is a great beer. Really enjoy that, and that earthy tone at the end gives it a nice extra character you wouldn't expect out of it.
Thank you.
It's very.
And what's neat about it, the next blonde ale might be totally different.
Yeah.
And that's what's neat. I just kind of do different variations of what I have and what I want to do and what I'm in the mood to do. And
Even just changing the honey.
yes.
Yeah.
It would be
That's an
interesting to try a few.
To try
and-
different, yeah.
Yeah, and you can put some. I mean, I've already put coriander and orange zest in it. Did lemon zest. Depends on what you want to try to do. What do you have available to you? And we do have a great down, kind of on the side of one of the streets of Bloomsburg. It's called Spice Man, and he gets all his spices fresh from all over the world. And I just call him up and tell him what I need, and I just go down and pick it up, and it's just really, really good. I get a lot of my hot peppers from him for our. We do a
Writing this down.
Steph's
hot pepper pilsner.
Whoa.
Oh, nice. So as soon as you said hot pepper, Steph started writing.
Yeah.
I need to meet the Spice
I
Man.
need to meet the
The
spice man.
Spice Man.
That's a great resource to have. So speaking of hot peppers, since I know Steph's going to want to ask, have you done any chili beers, spicy beers? Is that something you're into?
Besides the Pilsner.
Besides the Pilsner. Yeah.
The Pilsner actually worked out really well. I did habanero and a little bit of mango in there. But it seems like that was the best, because if you start getting the hoppy beers like a hot pale ale, I think the hops and the hot pepper, I don't think they quite mix with one another. We tried it with an IPA, but it was okay. People liked it, but I think the Pilsner was our best. That's what I usually stick with.
I don't know that I've ever had a spicy Pilsner.
No, I don't think I have, no.
I mean, I've had peppers and a lot of other stuff.
Of all the beers that Steph has tortured me with.
Yeah, I don't think any of them
a Pilsner was one of them.
The only I've had it in a Pilsner, but it was me putting a Thai chili inside of a
physically
Pilsner.
putting the
yeah, it wasn't one that was brewed intended to have chilies in it.
Yeah, it works for us.
Yeah.
Works for us.
That's awesome. So there's another beer that Steph was passing around here. What are we moving on to next? Whatever it is, I love the smell of it.
Oh, this is our Donny's Double, and it's another little story. The guys from England cannot say Donny. They say Dooney. So we stuck with Donny's Double.
I love it. At first I was like, is that a typo? But I figured there had to be a story behind it. That's funny.
A lot of in the beginning, we used to use the rock candied Belgian sugar, and then we went to the syrup. I think the syrup does a much better job, and it's a dark syrup, and it's pretty basic. I think it's the Chimay strain yeast that we use, the 550, I think, from White Labs, and it seems it works out really well with it.
Ooh, I love this.
See, this is why I love and hate Belgian at the same time, because it's such a good beer, but you drink a lot of these beers because they're so easy drinking, and then you're like, oops.
Oops, that was 7-8%. Oops.
Yeah. They sneak up on you quickly.
But they do showcase, like you were talking about, that Belgian yeast character.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, and all the different things that you can get out of it.
There's a really nice maltiness out of this. And
those dark fruits.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people with their recipe puts in Special B, but I put Munich 2 in. I just like that malt a little bit better than the Special B. And I did try 3 different yeast. I tried the T58, which is a fermentous dry yeast, and I didn't like how it. I didn't like how the double was, but it does a great job in triples, and you'll taste the triple a little later. But the 550 seemed like it worked out really well, so that's what I stuck with.
This is delicious.
Thank you.
This is the kind. Sometimes Belgians, I find that, well, anything will go with mussels, but they don't always pair with food very well. It's kind of like a standalone beer, but this, you get all the goodness of the Belgian yeast and the flavors, but you could still eat something with this, if that makes sense.
No, I hear you.
I think that's because a lot of the Belgian beers are like really thick and rich, kind of,
right?
And then this is a little cleaner and crisper and easier drinking. So this would.
I think this would go good with a little bit of chocolate.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Greg
Orth, are you listening? We do a yearly, for our Valentine's Day episode, Greg Orth from Craft Tastings, which is a beer and food pairing company based in Lancaster. He always does beer and chocolate pairings with us on the air. Although he teased that he might do something a little different with us
we might
this
do
year.
something different this time.
So I'm excited. We'll see. We'll see.
As long as there's still some chocolate involved somehow.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some chocolate involved. Usually a bacon bar for Dan and a spicy bar for me.
I just finished off my bacon bar last night. I like how there's a little bit of that sweetness in the aftertaste that lingers around, and for me, normally to have something linger around like this, I wouldn't like it, but this is there, and it's reminiscent of what you just had in the beer itself, and it just kind of, to me, it wraps up that journey so well with the flavor.
Dan is waxing philosophical right now.
That's what I do. New year, new me.
I like that. I couldn't say it any better.
I suspect that this will get more interesting as it warms too, so I'm gonna save a little bit to sip on a little.
Yeah, actually, it's at the right temperature right now.
This is perfect temperature.
Well then,
yeah.
Well then, I'm
if the
glad I
brewer
finished
says
fast.
it's at the right temperature, you better drink it.
I better drink it. Okay, fair enough.
See, that's why I drank mine so fast. I knew it was at the perfect temperature.
So what's your excuse every other time?
I'm thirsty.
He's thirsty.
Yeah. See, we're on the same page.
You guys always drink faster than me.
That's all right.
So we've got a couple of beers to go through still, at least for this tasting
Oh my God,
segment.
this smells amazing.
So we've got the Robust Porter now, which we've been told is on nitro, and according to Steph, it smells amazing. So I'm gonna.
This is one of my beers.
use
Like
my
there are
limited sense of
certain
smell.
places, like
Oh dear.
there are certain, like it's all about the porter.
Yeah, usually in the summertime we have a brown porter. It's very, very light for the summertime. And we call it Light Street Porter because the town of Light Street's right down the road. And we needed a little bit of a robust porter for the wintertime to kind of get you through the winter. And there is a little street in Bloomsburg called Iron Street. So we went with the robust porter in Iron Street.
It's just so velvety
the
smooth.
The first word that came to mind for me was cozy.
Cozy.
This beer is cozy.
Like the setting we're in. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Compliments well.
No, there is DC Brow in Washington, D.C. makes a porter that, in my opinion, I don't know, up until this point, is like the best porter ever. And every time we go to D.C., like I have to have that porter. But it completely took me to sitting at that bar in Washington, D.C., drinking my favorite porter. Like I'm at that moment right now.
Yeah.
And it's on nitro. How can you go wrong?
So is this typically served
so
on nitro, or is this a
Yes,
special
I
occasion?
try to have our dark beers on nitro. Now, what we did is we matched this with the espresso stout. The espresso that we get from Fog and Flame in downtown Bloomsburg, and we're going to do some kegs of it. 15.5 half barrel. We put 60 ounces of pure espresso.
Oh my gosh.
And that's carbonating right now. It should be on this week.
So we're just staying in the inn all week, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. we'll wait for that.
Yeah,
Oh my
it should
gosh.
match up really, really well with this beer.
Oh my God.
This is like what I want for dessert, is this beer.
Yeah.
Because, the end of the night, it's, I think, lower in alcohol, right?
Yeah. What is this one?
5.8, thank God.
Oh, not bad.
Lower
5.8.
in alcohol,
All right.
nice and smooth, like a great way to finish. Or start the night with, too. Start and finish the night
Start
with.
and finish. Yes.
Now, Steph, let me ask you something. Have you ever had a Baltic Porter?
Yes.
What do you? Is it worth brewing or not?
My personal opinion, I prefer the more roasty, creamy porters like this, where
Right.
that's more dry and
Sweet?
and
Yeah.
syrupy
Okay.
almost.
All right.
But out in New Mexico, my brother lives in New Mexico, and there's a brewery called La Cumbre in Albuquerque. And when we were out there last Christmas, they had just tapped a Baltic Porter, and it was like 8-9%, which is another reason I don't like them, because I like to
Right.
drink a few of them.
Okay.
And theirs was really well done, because it was very reminiscent of your double, where you get the sweetness, but that malt roastiness really takes over at the end. So I think if you can, in my opinion, that's the way I want my porters to be. I don't want that syrupy, thick sweetness, but there are people that love that.
Okay. Oh, one of my favorite beers in the world is Victory's Red Thunder, which is their Baltic Porter aged
True,
in
yeah,
red wine
their
barrels,
Baltic
and that
Porter is really good too.
Yeah,
So,
and it's not super like syrupy, thick,
Yeah.
sweet, too much.
and if worse comes to worse, you can just put some like chipotles in it or something.
Yeah.
Of course. That's your answer for everything.
This is divine. This is a beer
thank you.
that, yeah. This
Velvety was a very good description.
Oh yeah, it's velvety.
You didn't like cozy?
Cozy was excellent, but velvety was a little more sophisticated.
All right.
Oh.
All right.
I'll take cozy. Sit up by the fire with Moo.
We need a fireplace.
This is a sitting with your cat kind of beer.
Yeah.
Now, Steph, we could put a little bit of ice cream in there with this.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh. Now that's dessert.
Yeah, that's dessert.
What about like cherries?
Oh,
Cherries
yeah.
would go nice,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think
Cherries with
cherries
this?
would do very well with this.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
the
I'm ready.
hardship,
I'm ready
but we
for
have
our
to move
next
on.
beer.
Such a hardship. We must move on.
Doing the segues for me because
another
I was
good
still
winter
drinking
beer.
beer. All right.
We're here for you.
So what is this one?
You better not give that to my wife. She does not like barley wines.
Oh, it's barley wine. Oh boy.
All right,
So
this
Wayne
is
gets two.
Oh, that smells.
this is one of my favorite styles. I've probably made maybe 6 or 7 of them over the past 20 years. I love aging them. This is a 2-year-old. And actually, I did not know how to name this beer many, many years ago. And our daughter went to Houston, and she lives on the street Rolling Fog. And I thought it was a perfect
Aw.
name for a barley wine.
Because after a few of them, you will feel like you're seeing Rolling Fog.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh.
This is.
I hope you got that in the background.
I did not.
Not a fan, huh?
So as your wife, she doesn't even have to pretend to like some of the beers, right?
No. Although
appreciate
she's my taster. She tells me if it's any good or if it's very good.
So if you ever make a barley wine that she likes, either be warned or you really did something spectacular.
Exactly.
This is very warming.
It's not as hot as a lot of other barley wines.
No, but I mean,
It's
You know it's
deceiving.
there, yeah,
you
but
sit this and you think this is a big one.
like this is that's
Like,
why
I get it. I'm feeling like, yeah, this is a big one.
that's why I don't go near barley wines very often because they're really, really, really hot.
Yes.
And this isn't.
Yes.
I can sit there and drink this at the fireplace with Moo. But this is so good.
Moo is his cat.
Yeah, Moo's my cat. Sorry. Yeah, we should. Yeah.
He's looking at you like, what?
What's the
10
what's the story behind? No, hey.
10-9.
What's the
10-9.
story behind this one? Besides the rolling fog.
There's really
street
no
name.
story.
Okay, no worries.
I try to keep barley wines very, very simple. Use the American yeast, American ale yeast on this. What I like to do is keep the mash temperature low because barley wines can be really sweet, and I like keeping the terminal gravity a little bit lower.
Get that drier finish.
Yes, and I always had them high, and then I start reading a couple magazines, and they had some barley wine recipes and stuff, and so I went with the lower one, and I really like how it finishes. It's sweet, but it's not that sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah, it kind of has that dry finish.
Yeah.
I appreciate
man.
that.
Yeah, that's another reason I don't really go near barley wines because that sweetness is just there and it's stuck
You sometimes
in your
feel
mouth.
like you need a glass of water afterwards.
Yeah. With this, it cleans itself up very well. It's not overpowering. It's a hefty beer, but this is quite possibly the easiest drinking barley wine I think I've ever had.
I'm going to put your glass on that.
You know he likes it when he just keeps gushing and gushing and gushing. That's the sign from Dan.
Great beer, this and the last. Great beers to have now that it's finally starting to actually feel like winter outside.
Yes, yeah.
Very, very good, cozy.
And that's what
winter beers.
that's what we kind of try to do. Is summertime we have summertime beers. Fall we have some a little bit of summer, but also fall beers, and then in the wintertime get the wintertime beers going, but keep the alcohol lower.
Right.
You don't want to have too much high alcohol in there, and because then you just won't enjoy it, and people can't drink that many.
Well, it's one thing. Like winter beers should be dark and warming traditionally, and a little bit of spicy, Christmassy kind of things going on. Right. But you don't want to spend the whole winter completely drunk either. So
Right.
they don't all
Exactly.
need to be
Well,
10, 12%
I don't know. Some
beers.
people might.
Now, maybe if you were in Alaska.
I was going to say, if you're living in the Alaskan wilderness, there's not much else to do, I guess. But
That's the way humans hibernate.
Yeah.
Just keep drinking barley wine.
Well, this is one I'm not gonna chug because I want to drink this during the game. Speaking of the game, this is gonna be fun because I have the new mixer here, so I can actually do this and lower the volume on the mixer instead of the iPad.
Wow.
It's the little
Nerdy,
things.
it's little things in life.
I am so in awe of what just happened. I don't think I can host this game right now.
Remember, Wayne, don't piss me off because I can just
You can mute my
cut off your
microphone.
mic like I just
In
did.
one little clip.
I'm not here anymore. Anyway, all that aside, cheers, Internet, and welcome once again to Happy Fun Time Games, a podcast trivia segment that was once described. Today, we return to the safe and familiar territory of the continuation of the beer education of the Beer Buster Nation that is Libation or Fabrication. Everybody knows how this works by this point. I'll give you a name. You need to tell me, is it a real beer? Is it a fake beer? And we are going to begin to my left. Not with Dan, but with Donny.
Oh my God!
Wait, what?
Whoa!
Yeah,
Whoa.
I know. What's going on? It's crazy. We're breaking all the rules tonight.
New year, new us.
New year, new us. So the first beer on the list, is it real or did I make it up? It's called Monkey Butter.
Monkey butter.
Monkey Butter.
I think it's real.
You're going to go ahead and say it's real. Okay. Andrew,
I think it's fake.
you think it's fake. Okay. And you may have noticed that Andrew's voice changed a little bit.
Just a little bit.
A little higher.
Nothing to worry about, folks. Everything is under control. Steph, do you think that's real
It's the
or
barley.
fake?
Any
Wine.
brewer that would want the name butter in the title of their beer, it has to be fake.
Steph is also saying fake. And finally, Dan.
I'm actually gonna say real.
Dan is going to say real, and those to my right and left are correct.
Hey!
Because it is real. Monkey Butter is a 5.5% ABV peanut butter porter by Jade & James Brewery in Grand Rapids, Michigan that thankfully tastes nothing like monkeys or any sort of butter derived therefrom. Moving on to beer number 2, and Andrew is going to go first on this one, and our listeners can't see the air quotes. It's an inside joke, kids. Our second beer of the game is called The Life and Times of Sir Abner J. Stumpencroft. Is that a real beer or is that fake?
The what?
The Life and Times of Sir Abner J. Stumpencroft.
I'm glad Andrew's up first.
Andrew's not up first. Oh, I'm sorry. Andrew is up first.
Fabricated.
You're saying that is fabricated. Steph, what do you think?
It does. It kind of sounds like you.
It sounds like me.
It does sound like
I
a beer
sound like
you.
Abner.
No, it sounds like a beer that you would name that you would come up with.
Okay, so you're going to say it's fake.
I'm going to say it's fake.
You're going to say it's fake. Okay, Dan, what do you think?
I'm going to say fake as well.
Dan is also going to say fake, and finally Donny.
I too.
You two will say fake. Everyone's saying fake. Everyone is correct.
Yay!
Because it is indeed a random assemblage of words that I came up with, though that is how many beer names are created, let's be honest. Moving on.
The Life and Times of
Sir Abner J. Stumpencroft.
I knew it was either Wayne or Tired Hands. It was one or the other.
It's
I
either
don't think
Wayne-
that even fit on a label.
Yeah, you just make the font a little smaller. It's fine. We call it Sir Abs for short.
Sir Abs.
All right, moving on to
We'll
Steph.
pump you up.
That's a late night commercial right there.
Our next beer in the game, Steph's going to guess first on this one, and this is called Turn Your Head and Coffee.
Wow.
Is that real or fake?
I'm going to say real.
You're going to go ahead and say that is real. Dan, what do you think?
I'm going to say real.
Dan is also going to say real. Okay, and
Real.
Donny? Real as well. And finally, Andrew?
Real.
Real. Okay, everybody's saying real. Everybody is correct. All
Yay!
right. Because that is, in fact, a real beer. It's another peanut butter porter.
Whoa.
And it's also from Michigan, though this one is made with coffee, too. It's by Grand River Marketplace in Jackson, Michigan, and also presumably tastes nothing like monkeys. Moving on to
imagine.
our fourth and final beer of the game. And finally, we come to my right with Dan to guess first on this beer. And this
Feels
beer
all sorts of weird
is
and
called,
wrong.
this is going to feel even wronger in a second, because the last beer is called Uranus on Fire.
So funny story about that. No,
There is a story.
I'm gonna say real. Real. I'm gonna say
Real?
real. It's real.
Dan is going to say real. Okay, Donnie, what do you think?
Real also.
Also real. Andrew?
Real.
Real. Okay, Steph?
I hope it's real.
You hope it's real?
If
Are you
it's not,
saying
that's
real?
the name of my next beer.
You're saying it's real?
It's gotta be
Real.
super spicy
You're
beer.
saying it's
Of
real?
course.
It is real. Everybody is
Yay!
correct again. Today's game apparently was very easy. This is a 6.3 ABV jalapeno amber ale by Final Gravity
Only
Brewing.
jalapenos. Come
Yes.
on.
Only
A name like that, it needs ghost peppers.
Well, you know, you need to teach them a thing or two. It comes from the city of Decatur in the great state of
Georgia.
Michigan.
another Michigan beer.
This geographic serendipity is not, in fact, a coincidence. All of the beers that were fake, or that were real, excuse me, in today's game came from a list of brews served at the 2015 Michigan Brewers Guild Winter Beer Festival. And a little shout out to mlive.com, who provided me the list of superbly ridiculous beer names for today's game. So we're going to add up the points real quick, and we've got an interesting thing going on here. We have a two-way tie for first and a two-way tie for second. So we have like a
Super German sparkle
a
party.
German New Year's Eve sparkle party.
Oh.
Yes, yes.
Like it's
So
girls
in
against
first place,
the boys.
The boys. Donnie and Dan with 4 points apiece, and Andrew and Steph with 3 points. So a good showing by everyone.
All right. You gotta
Good
step up your
times.
game, Wayne. Like literally step up your game. No, that was good. And kudos to Michigan for all the weird stuff. But I feel like I want to do this.
No. Know your beers.
And Steph, what do you got?
So around the new year, articles seem to pop up everywhere that discuss the latest and best hangover cures. Back in episode 52, we talked about what causes a hangover and how to prevent one. And in episode 53, we talked about prickly pear extract as being a great hangover cure. In this episode, let's talk about some of the unique hangover remedies from around the world. I think you'll enjoy some of these. Kind of reminds me of There's Weird in My Beer.
There's weird in my hangover.
There's weird in my hangover. A common theme in many of these hangover cures is high amounts of protein, which break down amino acids like taurine and cysteine, which the body needs in order to remove alcohol and boost the liver's detoxing power. Eggs, for example, contain lots of cysteine, the substance that breaks down acetaldehyde, the toxin known for causing hangovers. In New Zealand, they recommend mince and cheese pie with chocolate milk. Not too bad, right? In the Philippines, ballot, which is a fertilized duck embryo.
Which is what you use to vote for your leadership, right?
Apparently, a fertilized duck embryo is poached and consumed as a hangover cure.
All right, not quite as good.
Okay, we're getting a little weirder. In
All right.
Mongolia,
Oh, boy.
they drink tomato juice
Fair enough.
with a pair of pickled sheep eyeballs.
Eyeballs. Pickled eyeballs in tomato juice.
Yeah, now I get the tomato juice because that's known for helping the liver purge the alcohol from your system, but the eyeballs I'm not so sure about.
Well, that's so the eyeballs can like seek out and destroy the hangover molecules that are floating around your brain.
Perhaps. Now, a little less crazy, some in the United States will drink what's called a prairie oyster, which is tomato juice again, but with a raw egg, a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, salt, black pepper, and 2 dashes of Tabasco. The tomato juice has, of course, vitamin C, fructose, while that egg contains all the proteins and amino acids. So that one I can see a little.
Okay.
That makes a little more sense.
Not too bad.
Now, in Scotland...
Oh, boy. In Scotland, they don't bother. They just drink again.
Yeah, we'll have to ask International Trevor about that. They make sausage, but instead of using water, they use what's called iron brew, which is apparently a very popular carbonated drink in Scotland. This is a very popular cure because the fatty foods will cling to your stomach lining, and that slows down the absorption of alcohol. So I suppose maybe you should consume this before drinking, not afterwards. I don't know. So I think it would be better for preventing instead of curing. In Namibia, clotted cream, 2 types of rum, and cream liquors
And more cream. And
are
more cream,
mixed
and
to
some
create
ice cream.
what is called buffalo milk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's their cure. And then in Peru, there's fish scrape, which combines lime juice, lemon juice, ginger, garlic, fish stock, and fish scrapes. Okay, the lemon and lime juice because they have, again, that fructose, which can metabolize alcohol faster, but the other stuff I'm not so sure about. Okay, here I saved the
best for last?
Well, second to last.
Okay. The penultimate
In
hangover
Hungary, sparrow droppings.
Sparrow droppings.
Like the poop from a sparrow.
Sparrow droppings are put in brandy.
Make sure you
as
wash
a
your hands before
suggestion.
you eat anything.
Although I must say, this could, of course, potentially introduce parasites, bacteria, disease into your body. So
Which is
I think we
worse
should
than a
pass.
hangover.
We are not endorsing this.
Okay.
But okay, I saved Dan. What I think will be Dan's favorite for the last.
Wait,
I
so
think,
you didn't think my favorite would be the sparrow poop?
I certainly hope not.
That's my favorite.
So I think Dan's preferred method will probably be the one that comes out of the UK. The English breakfast, of course.
You're right.
That typically includes back bacon, eggs, sausages, toast, tomatoes, mushrooms, which you would leave out, I know. But they're all fried together and sometimes accompanied by black pudding, hash browns, and baked beans.
I would trust the British on this one. I will
yeah.
eat the tomatoes and mushrooms.
Better than droppings or eyeballs. But interestingly, Newcastle University concluded in a 2009 study that the bacon sandwich is in fact the best hangover cure. The protein, fat, and salt help the liver recover and replenish lost electrolytes. So
Bacon
go
for the
bacon.
win.
I
Bacon
still
for the
say-
win.
Bacon for the win.
Cut the middleman and just eat spoonfuls of congealed bacon grease. You'll be fine.
Just make sure it's not hot.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that would
Burn
hurt.
your esophagus.
Oh, yeah.
Your
You gotta-
hangover will be gone, but your
No pain, no gain.
Your heart disease will be in full force.
Yeah, so there you go. Give those a try.
Oh, right. I am all about the English breakfast, though.
Faux shizzle.
Yeah.
On that note,
On that delightful note,
Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Beer me!
Round 2, fight.
so we've entered the bottle portion of the tasting, and so these are the ones that are barrel aged in some way, correct?
Actually, this first one is not.
Except for the first one.
Yes, because, when you start getting the bottling, the 750 milliliters, kind of playing around with the carbonation levels, how much sugar you put in, and it was one of the first ones we did. I just wanted to see how it was going to turn out. And I thought the carbonation, to me, is probably about 2.9, which that's That's where it should be. Pretty close.
I love the smell of this. Did we? I don't think we officially said
Oh
this
my
was.
God.
This is the rye saison, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
This is probably Midsummer Night's Saison.
Yeah,
Probably.
Maybe.
Or
It could be.
this Saison needs a name, or
Yes, the saison needs a name.
This is fantastic.
I
really
love
like this.
love Orange Blossom Honey, and the first time I ever had Mosaic hops, I fell in love with it. And I think all Belgians should have Mosaic hops.
this is amazing.
Without fail. This
Thank
is
you.
really, yeah.
This is what I am in love with right now. Those farmhouse-ish, kind of funky
Sort of
beers
rustic, yeah, like a
that
little tart
feature
little-
a hop. I love it.
Yeah, and I'm not a big rye fan, but this year I kind of turned the tables. We did a rye IPA. We were in Houston, and I think Founders had a red rye. I think it was them, and I tasted it. I really liked it. So what I did is I just kind of took away one of the base malts and just threw a 50-pound bag of rye in it. And it's not overwhelming or anything, but it's just right, I think.
You get that. You wouldn't even know it was rye, I don't think,
Right.
if you didn't say it. You get that little kick of
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I think it more reinforces the sort of black pepper character you're going to get from a Saison anyway. And it just sort of adds an extra little punch to it.
It could be that I have a cold, and it's probably that I have a cold. But in the smell, it kind of comes across in the aroma that it's going to be a sour beer.
It does
It
have
has
a funky aroma.
It has a funk to the aroma.
Okay,
yeah,
it's
very nice.
not
Which
just
I
easy.
love.
Yeah. So I was a little taken off guard when I tasted it and didn't get any of that in there, but I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised by what came out of it. I really enjoyed this.
And like you said, the carbonation is spot on. It's nice and champagne-y.
So Wayne, as somebody who appreciates Saison probably more than the rest of us at the table,
Yes.
What do
And
you
this,
think?
this is the setting you want to drink a good Saison in, by the way. So
Okay.
This is perfect.
recording a podcast.
This is delicious.
yeah,
No,
with
I
a
mean-
microphone in front of
No,
you,
the
or
cozy, rustic
Americana
awesomeness
pub.
that is
Here's that cozy word
Turkey
again.
Hill.
It is kind of cozy, though.
Yeah, we're not going to rush these bottles, guys. We don't have to keep talking.
No.
Because this is really good. I just want to sip on it.
So what is how many bottles do you have? What's the plan here?
I have six bottles.
No, how many bottles of this?
Oh, this particular one. I think we did 125, and they'll be numbered.
So are you going to sell them, or are
Yes,
they just
right
are
here.
brew pub only, or to
Brew
go?
pub. No, brew pub. Brew pub.
Nice.
Yep. That's where you get Turkey Hill. Actually,
Come and buy
they
it.
are going to be called Urban Abbey Brewing Company. And that's,
Oh,
that's,
yes.
That's our company, and that's what it'll be labeled under. Yeah. Well, I always include my wife because she
No, I said
developed the trademark, which is downstairs above one of the doors.
Oh, okay, cool.
Is there a story behind the name? You want to quick make one up?
Well,
No. There is a story.
there's a story.
Abby.
Abby is a short for Aberzinskis. I've always been called Abby a lot of places. And Urban, my wife, came up with it. And
Because suburban or rural sounded really bad.
wouldn't.
Rural Abbey, suburban Abbey. I was like, oh,
So
no.
urban,
Urban.
Yeah.
Because I desire to live in an urban setting.
I don't know. It's pretty peaceful and nice out here.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think
Susie's a city person.
Dan might trade South Philly for this, maybe.
Just some select nights, and as long as I don't have to hear anybody blasting music out of their cars, they drive down my street at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm perfectly fine.
Once they invent teleportation, which I'm waiting for, like I would want to spend my day in the
I've heard it's
city,
gonna
but
be
I
about
want
a
to
week
spend
or
my
two.
night here.
Yeah, I get it.
A week or two?
A week or two. A fortnight. We will have teleportation in a fortnight.
Wow, that should be a beer name too. We will have teleportation in a fortnight.
Urban Abbey just sounds really good.
It is
Great-
a nice sounding.
Great
Urban Abbey. I
logo.
like that.
It's really,
Yeah.
it works.
That's cool.
It's done.
That was so anticlimactic.
Maybe it's no good.
I don't know. Maybe it was with bread in it. That's what we.
Aha.
So we.
It's got to be good.
We don't know how the carbonation is.
This is the
With Brett Brooks.
Saison with Brett.
Ooh, I like the sound of that. I like the way it pours. Ooh,
There's some
that aroma.
funky aromas.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not bad. Could be a little bit higher.
Could be a bit, and it's not bad. No, it's not bad at all.
Right.
It's much more subtle than I was expecting.
Yeah.
It's
It's
nice and subdued.
Yeah, what probably it's going to change another 6 months. I mean, that's one thing. I mean, Brett just keeps on eating, and the carbonation's going to go up a little bit more, and you just have to have time. That's all.
It's still tasty.
It's really good right now, though. Yeah, absolutely.
It's another one where I'm getting something in the back end that I can't put my finger on what it is.
By the way, we are drinking a Brett Saison for our listeners. I don't think that we technically said that.
This is the part of the episode where we get lost and we forget to be professional.
through the magic of editing, I was going to make it happen, but hey, we've got it in there twice now.
There we go.
I like
So for our listeners, this is the Brett Saison.
Hey, third time's a charm. No, I really like this.
I like
It's got
that
a nice,
a lot.
yeah. It's got a nice like crispness to it. Crispness,
Yes.
crisposity.
It's like fall, like crisp autumn leaves.
Yeah.
But it has this pleasant, like, fruity sweetness.
Yep. There's I almost for a flash, and I only got it once, and maybe I'm crazy, got like a hint of mint.
A hint of
A hint of mint. Just like a brief, and I'm not getting it now, but I did just like for a second.
Just for a second.
I think this would age real well.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
We might not open one of these up for maybe another 6 months.
Yeah, yeah.
So is this the probably Brett Saison? Does this have a name yet?
Probably.
I don't know. I really like it. This is my favorite Saison so
Oh.
You don't like Brett, Susie.
Better than the... I don't like Brett.
She might
But
not
it's-
like it in 6 months.
That's what I said. Yeah. Right
So
now,
let's
it's not
drink
very
it
good.
now.
Drink 'em up now.
You better watch those bottles.
They're in our basement.
I have inventory.
You may need a guard, too.
Yeah, they're in our basement. You're not always home.
Right. See, that was actually this was our first beer that I infused Brett when we bottled, and I did not put any corn sugar in.
Okay.
So I wanted to see what it would do. It's better than I thought, but
is.
after that, the bottles following that, I just put a little bit of corn sugar in with the Brett, and it seemed like it worked out. But it was just one of the first experimental things that I wasn't really sure about, because actually Larry Horowitz, his name always comes up, but he always said just back off on it, because I says that thing will keep on carbonating, so I kind of went with that, and I adjusted it,
When Larry gives you advice, you can probably listen.
Yes.
You should
Always.
You should listen.
This drink's very, very nice, very smooth and crisp. And
I love watching you when we have a beer like this.
I know, I love
This
it.
is like you.
I
This
like
is a
this
you
beer.
beer.
This is a me beer.
This is a me beer, too. I like this beer.
Look at that. You got now. You have to keep brewing it. No question.
You need to call it me beer.
Me beer.
Just me beer.
My wife's beer.
My beer.
My beer.
Oh, yeah.
We'll call it Andrew with quotation marks.
I'll find this in the basement beer.
The I'm sorry, but it's all gone beer. You can make more beer.
Oh, yeah.
Now we need to make room.
Yeah, the triple's coming up next.
Yeah, no.
Ooh, that's
Oh,
hard.
dear.
Oh, my God.
Andrew's tapping
And
out.
we call it
Yeah.
the Holy Trinity Triple,
Hey,
spelled WHO.
L-L-Y.
I like that.
I like the fact-
I know this one's gonna pop.
All right.
Well, to be
Wait
quiet.
for it.
That's how it should sound.
That's money. That's money.
Money.
So I like how you all the corks are numbered, and then you've got a list so you know which is which. But one of them simply has an X.
I have a tendency to forget things.
He only did that for this, I think, so.
Yeah, what, X?
X. Just X.
Is this the one with the X?
No, this
No.
is not. The X is later. So, a little foreshadowing there, folks.
All right, this was put in a oak barrel with Brettanomyces clausini.
Ooh, I
It's got
love.
a lovely funk in the
Oh
aroma.
my God, yeah.
This is a triple I can get behind. I don't care if it's 8, 9, 10.
It's probably 9.2, 9.3. It's almost 2 years old.
I love that it's got that nice tart, funky, sour character, but it's not jowly. Like it's
Right,
not
right.
stinging. It doesn't feel like I'm gonna
It's a
instantly get heartburn.
little jolly.
But it's just
In a pleasant way.
yeah. But I've never had that.
It's amazing.
I've never had a beer that had that intensity of the tartness, the sour tartness, without the sort of back end of the acidity to it. And it's really nice that it's balanced that way.
This is delicious.
Thank you.
It's right. You should be selling this right now.
This is nature at its best.
Oh, I just took my first sip. This is fantastic.
Well, basically what we did is took this triple out. We bottled, I think we have 150 bottles of it, and we did about 20 gallons of in the kegs. I did not clean it. I dumped triple right back on top of it, and we'll see what happens next year.
Nice. Very nice.
This is the kind of beer that's going to get me in trouble.
Yeah.
Larry Horowitz has a name for this beer.
Oh, yeah?
Is it Whitney you're driving home?
No. Baby Maker beer.
All right.
I know that beer.
Wow. But you drink it and you have to keep reminding yourself, it's a triple. It's a triple. It's a triple.
Yeah.
It doesn't. This is one that hides its
Alcohol
its
strength.
teeth very well. Yes.
Yeah, Baby Maker, and his name is Brett.
Me and my first child, Brett. Funny story.
Long ago.
Or triplets.
Come on.
Brett.
1 T, 2 T's, and 3 T's.
We don't bother telling them apart. It's like Ed, and Eddie.
I was thinking that. Yeah.
Larry.
This is really, really good. Like, I almost don't know how to describe it. It's really, really
It's
good.
funky, and then you drink it, and you get like the crazy fruity notes, and then you drink it, and you get that little bit of sweetness, and you're like, oh yeah, it's a triple, and then
She has
a little
to
bit.
put her legs up.
What I just can't get over the level of the funk combined with how clean it feels.
Yeah.
You know? It's
Are you
really
getting any oak out of it?
a little bit?
It's
Yeah.
kind of vanilla-ish for me, a little bit.
Yeah, that was one of the hard things. You know, is it in there too long? We don't want a ton of oakiness in it. But this was in there for 18 months.
And I think the oak character might be part of what's sort of mellowing out the sour edge as well.
Right.
No.
Uh-oh.
Oh, did you skip the order?
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh. That's okay.
Well, you know what?
What's
We're going to go with the Russian Imperial.
All right. All right. I approve. Oh, and it smells heavenly.
And it looks like the
And it smells like
carbonation...
There's zero.
No, there's
There's a little bit.
You don't want a lot in it.
Yeah, just a bit. These, I'm afraid to drink this.
Oh my God.
Actually, it's right where it should be.
Actually, I'm very glad you're
You
staying
don't
at
want a
the
lot of
inn
You
tonight.
do not want a lot of carbonation in this beer.
Oh, this is. Whoa.
Is
Oh
this
my
just
God.
a straight Russian bottled? That's it. Like it wasn't aged in anything.
Yes,
It's
it was
just-
aged in a Jack Daniel's barrel
It was-
for 6 months.
I thought there was something boozy in that smell.
Especially in the aroma, yeah. I actually got like a little hint of like almost like tequila out of it.
You just have tequila on the mind.
Apparently I do. It's very it's very good. I actually get like you say dark fruits a lot, but specifically like prune. I'm getting like a prune character.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Yes.
Yeah.
Chocolate and prunes.
Yep.
bitter dark chocolate.
Oh.
Yeah.
What do you
It's
What do you
really
think
good.
the alcohol is on this?
I think it's about 10.8.
This
I would
is
have pegged it a
smooth.
little higher, to be honest.
It's very smooth.
It doesn't
Yeah.
taste that high.
Yeah.
I was based on the aroma.
Yeah.
I was ready for like, boom. But
Yeah.
you get
I
like,
like this.
ooh.
Yeah, it goes down deceivingly easy.
Yeah, what was the problem is I knew the carbonation level should be about 2.3, 2.4, and I kind of stuck with that. And with the higher alcohol, I don't think the yeast stayed in suspension.
Right.
And learned a lesson. I think it could be a little higher, but not much higher. I guess what I'm trying to say is I would like a little bit more head on the beer.
Yeah.
But
it could benefit from some
Right,
head, but
right.
as
But
I
what
say
does that
all
mean?
The time.
But what if we drenched it in
catchphrase.
like a real heavy chocolate cake and just like soaked
Oh,
it
that
in
would be
there?
good.
Oh my!
That
Oh
would
my.
be delicious.
Oh my.
Like a Black Forest inspired cake.
Uh huh. Yeah, you have all that Black
Wedding.
Forest mix at home,
I do.
so
I made an
Let's do that.
authentic Black Forest cake the other day with my mom. Rich's dad is a huge fan of Black Forest cakes, and we traveled to Germany with his dad a few years ago, and we actually visited the Black Forest and had a true German Black Forest cake, and he's been like seeking for that cake again.
The pot of gold.
Yeah, exactly. So we even bought the cherry vodka, and the cake mix we bought is actually in the recipe is in German, and it was, I gotta say, I was quite proud. It was the first time I ever made actual whipped cream. I actually whipped the cream.
Yeah.
I've never done that in my life. I was like, that's all it is? It's that easy? I'm making my own whipped cream all the time. All you do is put the cream in and whip it, and it's amazing.
It's pretty much what it says on the tin.
It is, and
Whipped
it's
cream.
so good.
Yeah.
You don't need to buy the one with 7,000 ingredients in it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, no, this would be like a really fudgy chocolate cake drenched in this.
Oh, if
Can you
could,
imagine?
Like, make a reduction, like a syrup out of this, to like drizzle on top.
Well, all you do when you make a Black Forest cake, you literally take the brandy and just like drizzle it over
let it
the cake
soak into the
before
cake.
you put the cream and the cherries and
Right,
everything on.
yeah.
I think we should go get some crackers after this.
That'd be a good idea.
I was thinking of like
We need to
brownies.
really cleanse our palate on the next one. We're gonna
Or we'll need to take a 15-minute break.
exactly.
Yeah.
Go run around outside.
You're right though. This is the perfect representation of what like those dark fruits really are, and that bitter chocolate. Like we say those things, but
Yeah.
I mean this is it.
Yeah.
If you
Like,
want
you
to teach a
usually say-
beer class and teach what those words
Exactly.
mean.
Because a lot of times you'll say dark fruits as sort of a vague
Yeah.
description, but this is specifically like a dry, like a pruny, like
This
it's
is very
very,
good.
very
a
particular.
prune dipped in bitter dark chocolate.
Exactly. Yes.
The Russian Imperial Stouts are not usually beers that I gravitate towards. A, they're way too high in alcohol.
Right.
I like to drink a lot. B, it's just not. I don't like beers that taste hot. I don't like that boozy alcohol taste. But this is, and it's been aging. This aged for 6 months. So
It's probably 14 months old right
see,
now.
aged Russian Imperial Stouts are better. Let them sit.
Yes.
It's really
It's
nice.
really good.
Thank you.
It's
They're going to
really
take a
nice.
lot more flavor then, yeah.
A beer of this style, and even something aged in a bourbon barrel, as soon as it comes out, it's like a rowdy, rebellious teenager,
Right.
and you need to let it get into like its early 30s when it's a little more, calmed down and a little more responsible and sort of figured itself out.
It's still
Gee,
like-
I wonder
it's-
what your source for that is.
A rowdy there's another good name for a beer.
It still lets the tattoo show a little.
a little bit,
A little bit.
a little bit,
A little
But then
bit.
it,
But it's grown
pulls
up
its
a
sleeve
bit.
down once in a while.
It's grown up a bit.
So would you change this one in any way?
No, I wouldn't.
I agree that it could use a little more carbonation just for the
Okay.
head,
Just for the look.
just for the look, because it
Right.
looks like it should
Yeah,
have that.
as far as the flavor for
Yeah.
it goes, I think this is spot on where it should
It has
be.
the mouthfeel is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
The nice, creamy, almost slick feel.
yeah.
It's not syrupy though.
No.
Yeah.
Which is why I like it. I do not like syrupy beers, which is
Yeah.
why I typically don't like those higher alcohol Belgians and why I typically don't like the bigger barley wines and the Russian Imperial Stouts. I don't like to feel like I need a glass of water after I have beer, although I probably should have a glass of water.
Yeah.
In between.
Yeah, we had no idea because I never brewed one before. This is the first one we ever
Wow.
did.
Wow.
And
Cheers to that first of all.
Kudos.
Well done, indeed.
That deserves a clink.
Thank you.
Wow.
I have my
Very
wife
good.
took my beer.
That's a good sign.
I really like it. I like
Here,
it.
Susie.
I like it a lot.
I can have more.
Well,
It's solid.
whatever you did, do it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
Just
is
a little
definitely-
bit, just a hint, a smidge of carbonation.
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit. Yeah, yeah. And I think it would benefit it from it, but also because I think consumers in general, would expect it.
Well, you
Right.
drink with your eyes first.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You do.
Right. And I think that this type of beer, if you put too much carbonation, it's going to kind of wash away all that flavor. So you really want to be careful. So
It's true.
I'm,
Yeah.
it's it's a learning lesson.
I will say it's unique. It's definitely got a unique character amongst Imperial Stouts.
And we were really surprised at how it's sold because we did 31 gallons of it, and 3 weeks it was gone. I was really surprised.
Well, there you go. There's your
Yeah, that's
there's your
exactly.
evidence.
Now you
Because
know.
I couldn't see, when we start talking about it, I don't want to do 200 gallons of it because I think it's going to be a slow seller. But I was really surprised how fast it went.
But think of the fun things you could do with 200.
Yeah.
Put some in this barrel, put some in this barrel,
Right.
put some cherries on it,
Give it to the chef.
put some Brett with it. Who knows,
to
you
the
know?
chef. He'll make
Getting
dessert.
ideas
Who
right
knows?
here.
I've had a few sour, darker beers, and the dark fruit and the roastiness with the funk, it's a good combination.
I think vanilla. This would go like some vanilla beans.
Oh yeah.
Flying fish can do that.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how.
I mean, that's a pretty
vanilla
generic
beans.
sort of thing to put into a stout, but
I don't know. I'm still thinking cherries.
cherries.
Oh,
and
Why not
Cherries.
both?
For some
Cherries
reason,
and
I
vanilla.
really want
I
Cherries
think
work
if you
with
did-
anything.
I think if you did cherries and a touch of vanilla, you could get like a Black Forest cake.
Oh God.
This could be a Black Forest cake beer.
All right, here we go.
Let's do it.
So that we
Oh,
broke
I
all
don't
the
want
rules.
to chuck it. Oh, you finished it
I
already.
finished mine.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
Dan's like,
It's a
I'm not
nice
driving.
sipper.
All right, so I think we have 2 more beers. The next one's going to be the FHK that y'all tasted down in Capital City.
Oh,
I have
yeah.
no idea. I have not opened this up yet. I don't know how the carbonation is or anything.
Only one way to find out.
Exactly.
Are you vining?
I'm going to vine the cork this time.
I think it's.
It was nice
That
and subtle.
was like
It wasn't too much. It wasn't like.
Mezza, mezza.
But
that
there's
was-
carbonation
It
in
was
there.
there.
that was
Yeah.
like Hollywood sound effect level.
This is. I put a little bit of corn sugar
It's
in
going
here.
in the Warner Brothers library.
No, it's going to the Beer Busters library. Screw Warner Brothers.
Anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Ooh, I like the way that pours.
Oh, yeah, I think we're going to like this.
Oh, look at that.
I like it. Here we go.
Oh, and the aroma. Oh my God. Oh.
If the smell is any indication.
So we've moved on to
Well, the aroma's good.
the FHK. We are all in agreement that
The aroma is amazing.
Is awesome.
Oh, it smells
It's
fantastic.
a Brett.
Okay, the FHK is our German Kolsch ale. That is primary fermentation is the 570 and
wow.
thrown in a barrel. This is the one that totally faked us out.
And the barrel had Brett in it?
Yes.
Or the barrel just had whatever happened to
It
be in
had
it.
no. Actually, it had 2. I think it had Brux. I think it had Brux and Troy's.
It's really complex. Like
Wow.
you get that traditional. That I don't want to say traditional, but the sort of tart, sweet tart kind of sour flavor. But then like I'm getting almost like a little roastiness and a little sort of smokiness in there as well.
I am getting the smokiness too.
I have to admit, I'm not.
I'm getting
It's
a hint.
got so many things.
You get
going
like
on.
the fruity. You're right, like the
Yeah.
the
You get, like, the
tardiness
tart,
up front,
slightly
and then
sweet,
there's
and
like
then-
malt, and then there's like a little bit of smoke,
Mm-hmm.
and then whew,
It
done.
ends with a really nice smoky character. It's really unexpected and really pleasant.
It just kind of lays on your tongue
Yeah.
at the end. It just kind of keeps on flowing.
I have to admit, I'm still not getting the
I'm getting
smokiness. And
I got a
it's
hint
right
of it in
after.
the aroma, and I thought it was
it's
crazy.
like
and then I
sweet
drank
tart
it and-
smoke.
Yeah.
I'm
Sweet
going to
tart
blame the
smoke.
cold. It's
Yeah.
because I have a cold.
Sweet tart smoke. And then, like you said, it just lays there. It kind of just hangs around. Like, yeah, you just drank this. And I'm gonna chill
Yeah,
for a
this
bit.
this beer sat in there, and we tasted it, and it just wasn't happening, and all of a sudden exploded, and it just really came around, and we were real happy with it. And the first thing I thought was low alcohol, not going to do much, not a lot of body. It was real watery, and within 3 months it just turned around.
It just blossomed.
Yeah, just-
It is quite mind blowing to think that this is a Kolsch.
Yeah, I would never.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, usually when
Like,
I
when
say
it comes
sour
down to
Kolsch, they look at me and say, "Are you kidding
What are
me?"
you talking about? I've never heard of
What
such
is
a thing.
Those words don't belong together. What do you mean?
Well, it's almost like the coffee Kolsch we had at St. Benjamin.
Oh,
Those
that
are
was
words you didn't
mind-blowing.
think would go together
No,
either.
that's
But
true.
this
A beer, basically this color, a little paler, that tasted like coffee.
Right.
Like just the, and I mean, logically that makes sense. It doesn't have to be dark to taste like coffee.
but it was
just-
actually good.
Yeah, it
and
was great.
But But it was such like your mind, like you didn't know what to do. Like your eyes saw a pale beer, but you were tasting coffee, and it was like this weird incongruence in your brain, and you're just like, I don't know what to think.
It's just like the pale stout style.
Yeah.
That became popular for about a month.
And then nobody cared.
Yeah, and then nobody cared.
But yeah, you don't expect those words to be next to each other, and then they are, and then this is the product, and it's just like, holy crap.
Yeah,
This
for
is
how,
great.
for how light it looks. I mean, it
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like there's no taste whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah.
But then
it
you
is
smell it,
surprisingly light. Yeah,
and you're like, wait a minute.
and it's just there's a lot going on in here. It's really complex and layered and really good.
Oh my god. But it's not an overpowering sourness.
Right.
No,
It's not puckery, it's not jowly, it's just like, there it is. Like you said, there's sweetness, there's the tartness, then it's gone.
Yeah. Which is indicative of the other sourish beers that we've had in this second and awesome tasting segment.
Yeah, please, Dan, do me a favor. Do not ask favorites tonight.
I wasn't
I can't do it.
Don't do that. We can't
I
pick
can't
favorites.
pick one either.
I can't do it.
Yeah, but one has to stand out.
You would
we
think
have
that.
one more. We have one
You
more
would
beer
think
to
that.
taste.
We do have one more to taste.
See,
That's
I'm not going to ask
intriguing.
favorites, but I get the feeling Donnie is.
Donnie wants to know. Damn it.
Nah,
what's your
it doesn't-
favorite?
you know what? I'm not going to change my philosophy, and
That's true.
I mean, this
Brew
just
what you
goes
want to
to-
brew and brew what you want to drink.
So you even said earlier you want to brew the different styles and you want to get something that hits that sweet spot for everybody.
right.
But the beauty of doing it so well is you run the gamut of every different style of beer pretty much, and they're done so well that the people who appreciate the different styles like us, you can't pick out a favorite. It just can't be done.
Right.
I mean, they all stand out in their own unique ways. Over the porter was great. I mean, we even started off with the 6 quid.
$6
Was it?
right.
Start off with the 6 quid with the English style IPA on there, and then you go into everything is done so well in its own different way that there is no favorite. They're all great in and of themselves.
There's your commercial.
Well, thank you.
I'm really
If
glad.
you need a sales rep,
I'm really glad Dan was getting super wordy there because it gave me a moment to just sort of sip and enjoy this beer.
that's what I aimed for.
Well, and Donnie, I think having you here with the brewery, there is a reputation that's getting out. I mean, people know what you're capable of doing. People have had your beers now, and people travel here to Bloomsburg just to come here, which is kind of a big deal, especially considering the brewery's only been here for 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, why else do people come to Bloomsburg?
The school and now the beer.
And now the beer. So I'm word is getting, and you're a very humble guy, and I appreciate that, and I love that about you. But you make kick-ass beers, and the word is getting out about it. So the bar's just going to keep getting packed every weekend. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's all right.
So Andrew's just going to have to keep working and working and working.
all right.
but
So I hope you're prepared for the whirlwind lifestyle
Yeah.
of a superstar.
that's
it's
right.
called supply and demand.
Supply and demand.
And these bottles, oh my gosh.
These have been amazing. All of them so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we only have one more.
Well,
Wonderful treats.
and the triple's just all coming home with me.
Nice.
Oh my god.
So we do have one more, which is our sour double.
I don't want to drink it because I don't want it to be over.
that particular beer, or the podcast, or both?
Both.
All right.
Well, we do not know how the carbonation came out in this one. It's 2 months old.
Once again.
We bottled it 2 months ago. And it's called the Bécu de la Beurre, which is many yeast. I have no idea how we came up with this. We had a party one night, and we had clams and fresh corn on the cob and mussels, and we had 20 different beers throughout the world and the United States. And we sanitized a beaker, and we threw all the dregs in it, and we threw it in a barrel and threw the double on top of it.
Nice.
And
No
there-
carbonation.
and there's not a lot of carbonation, but we're going to taste.
As you can tell from the cork pop, or lack thereof, but this sounds really intriguing.
I know how it tasted when we. Oh, there's. Oh no,
There's a bit in there. Yeah, that was deceiving.
Actually, I think it's
Oh,
fine.
I-
It's
yeah.
really
Look
well
at that.
carbonated.
Holy cow.
Actually,
But even the way
we
it
have been
pours
been duped.
the color of it overall, the
It's a lovely color.
oh my god, it looks
This
like
is
it's going to be
the this is the
wonderfully-
double that you had
malty.
before, and that is the originator. That's the base beer.
The originator. I like
Sour double?
It smells so great.
Sourdough.
Beaucoup de vin.
For anyone who can't see me, I have the glass up under my nose while I'm
Hold on,
talking.
hold on, hold on. I need it. Friends, I will
It's
vine
like
this.
the dregs of the world.
Go to
all
Vine
put together.
Slasher at Beerbusters.
The
wherever the hell we are.
It will be the best 6 seconds of your life.
The aftertaste is, I think, is really, really nice.
Ooh, that's what I told all my girlfriends.
Wow.
That's what he told his girlfriend.
Wow.
I said this will be the best 6 seconds of your life.
Another name for a beer.
The best 6 seconds of your life.
Yep.
Man, we're changing labels.
See, I wasn't sure when you said that if you were referring to the best 6 seconds of your life or the aftertaste is really nice.
Then this is what happens at the end of the night.
Yeah. Especially when we have a lot of awesome
Well, what do you
beer.
think?
Oh, I haven't
This is
tried it
great.
yet. It smells so great. I was too busy smelling it.
It's the end of the world.
It's amazing how much the character of the double is just completely altered
Right.
through the souring
Exactly.
process and how it just becomes a completely different
I
beer.
think it's a great base
This is
beer.
how every double should taste.
Wow! Wow!
Wait a minute. This is from the man that would not put a sour beer anywhere near his mouth.
I think he's happy.
It took us a while to get Dan to come around to sour beer.
Yeah. I'm glad I did.
We
now
never
he's
came
here.
to the right place.
Well, I guess not.
I'm not sure if I like this better or the triple better. We may need to open another bottle of the triple better.
Oh, jeez.
I'll go home and get one. I'm going to bring the
I like
Boilo
her.
and the chocolate cello.
Yes, Boilo.
Oh,
This is incredible, though. Oh
It's
my god.
amazing.
It's really
Like,
nice.
It's Steph. So you said earlier that, and you're right. When you have a beer, you drink first with your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it looks like this but tastes
like
the way it does
It deceives
is
you.
oh my god. But it's like you
Look,
said,
there's
Wayne,
even some really
there's-
nice lacing. I gotta give you that.
It's for me the base is still there, but it's transformed into something that's the
it's-
same yet different.
It's still a double, but it don't matter.
It's
double, but
it's a
it
double
don't
that
matter.
makes me glad we're not driving tonight. Holy crap!
Just
That's
put
good.
Brett in everything.
The thing
Yeah.
explodes.
It does.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and you know what's really interesting that I just sort of started getting is like at the tail end, there's almost like a little black.
You become chatty, he becomes philosophical.
There's like a little black pepper note at the end. I don't know if anybody else got that.
I'll
Like
admit
I
I'm
started
not getting
getting
that
like
either.
a dark spicy kind of note like that, sort of a black pepper at the very end.
This is
Very
Yeah,
nice.
It's-
there
it's
is a
phenomenal.
spicy. It just kind of lays there. I don't know. We were. What
Susie's
was,
done. The mic is up.
Giving up.
What was really amazing
Andrew.
about this barrel-aged beer is right around 7 months, it started forming its taste, and we were really, really happy with it. And we just kept said, just let it go, let it go.
Yeah.
And finally, about the 15th month, I said it's close. And the next month, we kegged 20 gallons, and I think we have 150 bottles of it. And, and I think it's going to age real, real well.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. It's pretty perfect right now.
That's
It
true.
is pretty awesome right now. I would be interested. It would be really cool. Would be able if you could do like a vertical. Now I know this is the kind of beer that's probably not going to turn out the same way twice. So you couldn't really do that.
Well, we put a double right back on top of it.
Oh,
so
yeah?
we'll see what happens.
Okay. But that'd be cool to like sort
Compare
of see
it.
it aged
Yeah.
and
Oh,
compare
yeah.
it to like how it is now. Yeah.
Right.
So, how will our listeners know when and if they can have any of these wonderful beers in these bottles?
I'm hopefully
Come to your house
by
and
March.
break into your basement?
Yeah, I'll make breakfast and. Hopefully in March we should have them all labeled and ready to go. Hopefully,
Amazing.
we'll see. And on Facebook, that's what we'll announce it.
Yeah, and for the love of God, make sure you get one of these bottles. Holy cow! If you're able to get out here and get one,
But you have
do
to beat
it.
us.
What?
I'm going to be first in line.
So I'm going to give you some money to pick me up one, please.
For sure. I got your back.
This is oh my God, these
What I-
are so great.
Yeah.
That was the one with the X on it.
Oh, that was the X.
All right.
X marks
That
the
was
spot.
the X.
All right.
It deserved an X. It was very, very good.
Thank you.
What I liked about all of the sours that we've tasted in this segment is, like I've said a couple times before, is that they have the funky, awesome character that Brett and souring gives to a beer, but they don't have that super acidic, vinegary sort of back end. And that's really nice.
They don't lose the qualities they had before at all, which is, I love that. I mean, all of the styles that you have here with the sour notes to them, they still hold up sort of to their original styles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that they're all different.
Yeah.
Super different. You can and I think you have this misconception too. When you first hear a sour beer, you have this one-track mind of what it is, and it just shows you that that's not what it is. There's so many possibilities.
Spectrum.
There's so many. Yeah, you're right. And I think the sour bottles that we had show that, and they're all just good.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. Holy cow!
And Dan, there's still some barley wine on the table.
God, trust me, I noticed.
Has anybody ever done a sour barley wine?
I don't know. That could be interesting.
I don't know.
It could be interesting and confusing at the same time.
Yeah, that'll throw you off track.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned Facebook, that people can see when these are going to be released and how to get them. How else can people reach out to Turkey Hill?
Andrew,
really,
where are you? Andrew, where are you?
Andrew, where are you?
Yeah,
he's the
his
guy
job.
who wants to
Just
answer.
come and experience.
Just Google Turkey Hill Brewing Company.
Not iced tea
Not
or
iced
Minute Markets
tea,
or ice
not-
cream.
And by the way, 1947.
Yeah, Turkey Hill Brewing Company.
So they were here first.
Oh,
1947 was when
When the
Turkey
convenience
Hill
store chain began, or
dairy,
whatever,
iced
or
tea,
whatever.
minute, whatever. That's when
Interesting.
that started. Well, apparently that was also named after the Turkey Hill.
Oh, really?
Yes. Apparently the owner of that was sitting on the hill.
Well, I
and
just
got
have to say,
inspired.
if you live in Pennsylvania,
Just come to.
you
Go to
know
Bloomsburg.
you know
To
Turkey
Bloomsburg.
Hill for the convenience stores,
Right.
the awesome ice cream, and
Yeah.
fairly awesome iced tea. But what you may not know, and you should, is Turkey Hill Brewing.
Yes.
Because these beers we've had today have been better than that iced tea and ice cream.
That's right.
while I agree with what you said about the beer, I'm sorry, fairly awesome iced tea.
Well, in comparison to the ice cream, their ice cream is stellar. Their iced tea is okay.
Fairly awesome iced tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Not nearly as good as their ice cream.
And they don't have an inn and a pub. And,
That's
true.
And
And
right
they don't
off
have
the
beer.
interstate.
They don't have the beer.
beer.
And not only do they not have beer, they don't have Donny's beer.
That's right.
Exactly.
Or Dooney's beer.
Or
Dooney's
Dooney's
beer.
beer.
You always have to bring up Dooney.
Dooney.
I love it.
But this has been a great lineup of beers.
Well, thank
we've had
you.
tonight.
Yeah,
you.
every
Yeah.
single one. Like I said earlier, every single one holds up in their own right.
And
There are no, to me, there's no favorites because they've all done their jobs so incredibly well.
I just have to say, I don't think I've enjoyed a tasting segment as much as this bottle segment in a very long time.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
thank
really
you. Yeah.
enjoyed all
Thank
of
you.
these bottles.
It's
the
been
draft
fun.
beers were really good and great, but this bottle tasting segment has been one that I will remember for a while. It's been
Good.
really good.
I appreciate it.
You all are amazing.
Yeah, you
So
got
thank you very
You
much.
just do a great job, and
From Andrew.
I'm just glad you picked the 2016 January. I'm glad you guys came up here. It's
Yeah.
just-
Man, I can't
That's
think of a
great.
better way to kick off this year.
Yeah.
That's
And-
right.
oh,
Cheers.
By the way,
By
Dan,
the
I
way-
was just saying earlier, that photo,
That's us.
it's from our website.
That's awesome. So apparently, if you Google Turkey Hill Brewing, the first picture that comes up is from BeerBustersPodcast.com.
Thank you, Rich.
All right.
So
taken by
Who's
Rich.
not here?
Taken by Rich,
I
yeah.
don't know. I think he's starving. He probably went to get food.
probably. So you can go to turkeyhillbrewing.com, but this is also important with it, in at turkeyhill.com. Because if you do your night right here at Turkey Hill, you are not driving home.
The inn is very nice. We're staying tonight, but Rich and I also stayed over Valentine's Day weekend,
Oh,
which was
did
a
you?
great time to,
cool.
to be
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. I'm
Lovely.
excited
Treat
to
you
see
well.
it.
And the
A
breakfast
lovely
is nice.
breakfast is nice.
Yeah,
right?
the breakfast is phenomenal.
I like breakfast.
There is a fine dining restaurant here as well. I wouldn't know about that. I just always come to the pub. But
Yeah.
The farmhouse.
the coolest thing is, if you stay here, you can call to the pub and be like, we want to come eat at the pub. And there could be like an hour wait for everyone else. But if you stay here, they just get you a table.
Oh,
That is
Alright.
worth the price of staying at the inn.
you are rolling VIP if you stay
right.
at the inn at Turkey Hill.
You walk in the front door, there's people waiting everywhere, and you're like, yeah, I'm staying at the
Yeah.
inn. I'm getting seated now.
And And trust us, through the increasingly drunken ramblings of all of us tonight, the beers are totally worth it, and you will need a room. You will absolutely need a room here. And god damn, I can't wait to eat some of that food too.
You all are wonderful.
And make sure you ask Donny to break out his secret bottles, because I know he's got some awesome ones
Yes.
somewhere. Yes, the one with the X on it.
That's right.
X marks it.
So pay attention to the Facebook, pay attention to their website, and get one of these very limited bottles if and when you can, and just enjoy the hell out of it, because you will. Holy crap.
Don't share it with anyone.
No,
Dan's getting
be greedy.
emotional.
Be greedy. Holy crap.
So anyway,
we can't possibly thank you enough
Yes.
for
Well,
this.
thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you
having us out.
so much for
We've
having
been
us out
looking
here.
forward to this for quite a while.
We
Yeah.
have been. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the perfect way to ring in a new year.
And
But
make
don't
sure
let-
and make sure you come back.
oh, of course,
absolutely.
of
Always.
course. And don't let me saying that this is the perfect way to ring in the new year mean that you're only going to come out here on New Year's. Come out here every goddamn chance you can. Whew. I have.
Swearing a lot now too.
I know.
don't
Hey,
what's
man,
going on.
it's been a good long night. I do have to.
But dinner's next.
Oh, thank
That's
God.
right. There's
Yep.
still goodness
There's still
to come.
dinner to come.
Yes.
I do have to throw out there, of course, that this episode was brought to you by Audible, audibletrial.com/beerbusters. I'm going to say that again because I know I stumbled over it. audibletrial.com/beerbusters. Sign up for a free 30-day trial, download an audiobook, enjoy
Or sign
it.
up for 3 of them. That's okay.
Or, yeah, sign up for 3 of them. Why not? Use 3 email addresses. Why not? Everybody's got their junk email
Yeah, cheat
address.
the system. We totally condone that.
No, don't cheat the system.
Just tell 2 friends and then that's 3.
Audible provides good stuff. I have a few books in my queue waiting to be listened to, and I don't have time to read actual words on paper, so do that because it will save you time and you still get to know what things are.
And you can listen to it while you're driving to Turkey Hill Brewing Company.
Exactly.
you
After
go.
listening to, of course,
This
Beer
episode.
Busters podcast.
of course, specifically this episode
episode.
about Turkey Hill. Holy cow. That was amazing. Well, sadly, this brings us to the end of another episode. Thank you so much for having us out here, Donny and Susie. Thank you so much for being part of this.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, Andrew, and
Andrew.
thank you, Andrew.
quote unquote Andrew.
Andrew and quote Andrew.
To the Andrew that started with us, thank
he's
you.
flo-
You
he's
have
floating-
you've got
he's floating around.
He's
Yeah.
working.
Floating.
Good
got a
for
very
him.
What he needs to
busy
do.
dining room to deal with, which is a good problem to have. Well, I am Dan Baker, joined as always by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and our from entertainer.
Wayne Baker.
Let's not forget, no squids were harmed in the making of this episode, and neither were any livers, because mine is happy. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Happy New Year.